Well, having discussed the background of the book, now we shall go ahead with the discussion on the essay introducing South Asian cultural studies. The essay, as I mentioned earlier, is taken from the book South Asian Cultural Studies, a bibliography by Vinay Lal is the author, and the book was published in the year 1996 by Manor Publications, and the content page is also given here, so you can see introducing cultural studies, wherein he talks about the location of cultural studies, then he talks about South Asian cultural studies, and then he goes on talking about the parameters of the present essay, and then he gives the bibliography of contemporary South Asian culture studies in an alphabetical manner. Okay, then thematically he has arranged. So you can see the list of books are given in a thematic order as well. Art and architecture, cinema and media. So all these criticism, critical theory, literary theory, the diaspora, Indians abroad, ecology and environment, English studies, gender and women studies. Messi covers the bibliographies from all these fields. So there is a thematic discussion. Now discussion means he has given the list of books. Now we shall go ahead with the first part of this essay. The first part of the essay is named as the location of cultural studies. Okay. Now let's try to understand what he means by this. As you know it very well, that cultural studies as a discipline began as the Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies in Birmingham University or in the University of Birmingham. He claims that the, the first issue of working papers in cultural studies appeared in the year 1972. And this particular journal, titled Working Papers in Cultural Studies, which was started in the year 1992 by the Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies. The abbreviation is wrongly spelled here. It should be CCCS. And the contributors to this journal, to this issue of the journal, were members of the center. And then time in 1972, Stuart Hall, you studied Stuart Hall last year in the last semester, was the director of the center. He was the director of the center between the years 1968 to 1979. So under his leadership, this particular issue or this particular journal was started. And he says regarding this, the journal aimed, what was the aim of the journal? Working papers in culture studies, to define and to occupy a space. That was the first aim of the journal, to define cultural studies and to take a place in the academic discipline. And secondly, to put, I quote again Stuart Hall, to put cultural studies on the intellectual map, unquote. So these are the words of Stuart Hall. These words appear in his book of 1980 on page number 15. You can see this is the reference. Stuart Hall and others. ATEL stands for and others, means there are many other writers. 2, 3 other writers are also there. So in their book, Stuart Hall has mentioned this. The aim of starting the journal, Working Papers in Culture Studies. So, but you know, the center itself was established in the year 1964 by Richard Hoggart. I have already introduced all these people to you in our background discussion. We have talked about Richard Hoggart, E.P. Thompson, Raymond Williams, and Stuart Hall. So I had mentioned it there that the Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies, CCCS, not CSSS, CCCS. The center was established in the year 1964 at the initiative of Richard Hoggart, who was then professor of modern English literature at the University of Birmingham. And he is well known for his book, The Uses of Literacy, which was published in the year 1958. I have already talked about this too. So when we talk about other contributors, we come to know about Raymond Williams' Culture and Society, which appeared in the year 1958. And this was followed by The Long Revolution by Williams, another book, another important book of 1961. And the revised edition of this book appeared in the year 1965. Another important book to be mentioned here is E.P. Thompson's The Making of the English Working Class of the year 1963. I have already given the information about all these contributors to cultural studies. Their initial efforts laid a foundation for the development of cultural studies. Even the videos are also given, their works are mentioned. So together, these works appear to constitute the foundational text of what was to emerge as cultural studies. So that's what I said. These efforts of all these authors, all these scholars, together constituted the foundational text of cultural studies. But when talking about the bibliography, Stuart Hall once had asked, I quote, "What was the bibliography of a cultural studies thesis?" Unquote. He raised this question. Stuart Hall himself raised this question. What was the bibliography of a cultural studies thesis? Which book should one refer to understand cultural studies? When you talk about literature, English literature, we keep on telling you about the books, names of the books, history, books of history of drama, novel, etc. But when this particular center was started and even it established itself as an academic discipline, there was a question of bibliography because it was altogether new field. And he himself answered this question. Nobody knew. So nobody knew the bibliography of cultural studies thesis. Then Lal says the problem at the present moment is not one of how a bibliography of culture study might be constituted, but how one would prevent it from getting out of hand. So what it suggests is that culture study didn't have specific theoretical framework as such. When it was started, it lacked the theoretical framework. What was the theory that it was based on? That was the question. And it could have gone out of hand. I suggest you to go through Chris Barker's essay in this regard. Chris Barker's book, Culture, Making Sense of Culture Studies. So that book will give you an idea about the problems that culture studies was facing in its initial years of establishment. And I also would like you to go through the essay by Stuart Hall that you studied last year. The culture studies, the theoretical legacy. So what we understand through this discussion is that cultural studies was established as a center at the University of Birmingham by Richard Hoggart in the year 1964. Then the contributors like Richard Hoggart, Raymond Williams, and E.P. Thompson and their works constituted the foundational texts. These were the foundational texts of cultural studies. No such studies were undertaken before that, prior to that, with the name of cultural studies. Besides, we understood that the journal was started by the center, CCCS. The title of the paper journal was Working Papers in Culture Studies in the year 1972. And we understood that at the beginning there was a problem of bibliography. That means there was no theoretical ground, a strong theoretical ground for cultural studies to emerge. Further, we understand through the discussion that Lal has put here that the parameters of British cultural studies have been set out in numerous works. Now, parameters means what? The standards, the guidelines. The guidelines, parameters have been set. So here, principles, methods, we can say. This is a technical term, means a limit or boundary which define the scope of a literature process or activity. That is the meaning. A limit or boundary. The boundary has been put forth. The scope and limitations have been talked about by many authors, many writers. And then he gives the list of this is how your citation should go. So he refers to the previous works on British cultural studies, which talk about the limits and scopes and limits of cultural studies. And these authors include the names of the authors that have been given here. I'm not going to read all these names, but you can see. Therefore, Professor Vinay Lal thinks that this particular background, means British cultural studies, have been explored or has been explored by many authors, such as Brattingler, Aesop, etc. Their works are given. These are the references. This is the bibliography now. Therefore, he doesn't want to talk about British cultural studies. This obviates the need for any detailed consideration of how cultural studies in Britain has developed. We too have talked about it. I already elaborated, explored it in my lecture on the background of the development of cultural studies. That was my intention. Therefore, I acquainted people to that particular background. Therefore, we are not going to talk about British cultural studies. Vinay Lal is not going to talk about here. What is the task of Vinay Lal here then? He thinks that the task of talking about British cultural studies is outside the scope of this particular brief essay. And then he goes on talking about its development outside UK. So he informs us that by the late 1970s, cultural studies has begun to make its presence felt in the United States. It happened in the late 1970s, means in 1977, 78, etc. So cultural studies had begun to make its presence felt in the United States. And in more recent years, departments of programs, this is an American spelling of programs that you need to take into consideration. This is not the British spelling. PROGRAMMES is the British spelling. So the departments of programs going under the name of cultural studies in America, in the United States, in the late 1970s or in more recent times. These departments or programs under the name of cultural studies have sprung up at numerous universities in Britain, Australia, and the United States after Birmingham. Okay, under the name of cultural studies. But there are certain places, certain locations where such programs do not exist. But some other similar institutional apparatus may be found. Means these programs are not offered under the name of cultural studies, but similar kind of courses or programs are offered at other universities. Then he mentions the names of the courses. For example, the History of Consciousness program at the University of California, then Santa Cruz, and the Center for 20th Century Studies at the University of Wisconsin Milwaukee. And he's talking about these two universities in the United States, wherein this program, which is similar to cultural studies, is offered under the name of History of Consciousness program. It at the University of California and University of Wisconsin Milwaukee. And these programs of cultural studies and all owe their existence largely to the intellectual ferment in the humanities and some of the social sciences. And they can be seen in the form of the philosophical and political movement. They're encapsulated in philosophical and political movements in the humanities. For example, you are the students of humanities. The students of language and literature come under humanities, whereas there are the students of social sciences. For example, we talk about sociology, anthropology, and we talk about what we call economics, political science, history, etc. So these particular programs owe their existence largely to the intellectual ferment in humanities and social sciences, which are in the form of philosophical and political movement, intellectual practices, and modes of inquiry. Therefore, being the students of literature, you should be familiar with all these kind of philosophical and political movements. Being the students of cultural studies, you should be familiar with all these things. So he refers to the intellectual, philosophical, political movements, practices, modes of inquiry. Then he names some of them. So these philosophical movements, intellectual practices include feminism, postmodernism, Marxism, post-structuralism, psychoanalysis. Particularly, he refers to the Lacanian variety of psychoanalysis, deconstruction, critical theory, dialogism, post-structuralism, new historicism, and discourse analysis. I've already acquainted you people with these concepts, and I suggest you to go through the book of Raymond Williams as well, keywords, to understand the things in a better manner, and even go through the notes of last year. So these modes of inquiry all fall under the rubric of cultural studies. That's what we understand by cultural studies. We shall be talking about other aspects of cultural studies in the European and Western context. So, cultural studies, we understood that encompasses everything that is vital and living in scholarship today. It is an indication of the difficulty of providing cultural studies with an unambiguous definition and clear narrative. Is what? Because of all these things that come under culture studies, it is very difficult to define the field of culture studies. There is no clear definition. There is no unambiguous definition or clear narrative of cultural studies. We also understand that culture studies did not originate in a fit of absent-mindedness, just like Britishers. Means although the British Empire India did so. According to one famous imperialist historian, British Empire originated in absent-mindedness. Now, actually, we need to go into the depth of the things, but cultural studies was a very conscious enterprise. It marked not only by brilliant success and conspicuous political intervention, but also by false starts, detours, uncertainties, and constant adjustments. Therefore, you can't understand cultural studies very suddenly. You need to understand all these things. It started as an enterprise. It was not a systematic enterprise as such. As I mentioned earlier, there was no strong theoretical ground for the cultural studies. It started as the precarious enterprise, but it was marked by brilliant successes and visible political interventions. Means even political interventions were there. It was a political movement to some extent. We already understood that. And it had false starts as well, wrong beginnings. For example, initially it was under the influence of Marxism. Then there were detours as well. Detours means a deviation from your journey, going off the track. Okay, going away from the main destination, taking the long route. We can say roundabout way. We say no, the bus comes via other route, a long route. So that is a kind of D route, or detours we can say. And there were uncertainties, and even cultural studies has to constantly adjust with things. So these were some of the things, features of cultural study that we need to understand. And much of the work of the people, I mentioned it earlier, such as Richard Hoggart and Raymond Williams, Stuart Hall, etc., who were associated with the center in Birmingham, their works were revolved around subcultures. You know it very well. Means, E.P. Thompson's book deals with the working class, the culture of the working class and punks, popular culture. And this started from Antonio Gramsci's, the Italian Marxist thinker, inspiration. Means they read Gramsci and took much of, they owe to Gramsci, I can say. Much of the cultural critics, cultural scholars owe to Gramsci. They are less Marxist and more influenced by Gramsci, we can say. Even feminism provided the next point of intervention. Feminism was also a kind of intervention in the development of cultural studies in the European context. Then they started thinking about the questions related to gender, cultural, and social politics, sexual politics, I'm sorry, and even subjectivity. And they started, questioning race, ethnicity, identity in the post-colonial world. Okay, so this movement or this academic discipline was, was a kind of discursive formation. It didn't start in a systematic manner as such. It was motivated by critique of disciplinary formations. Therefore, it was difficult for culture study to be called as a discipline. It had no boundaries as such. So he quotes Stuart Hall in this context. I quote him now. Cultural studies is not one thing. It has never been one thing. Unquote. So cultural studies migrated from Britain to America. And after this, cultural studies were divested of its political roots. Means it went away from the political roots. And then it got freedom, a kind of emancipatory possibilities. It was freed from politics in the United States. So cultural studies was to witness an unprecedented explosion in the United States. So this is how it was received in the United States. Therefore, enormously diverse areas of subjects, array of subjects, which the Stuart Hall terms as theoretical fluency, appeared to substitute intellectual work for politics. Means what exactly? They started dealing with many areas, many subjects. So what Stuart Hall says, I quote here once again, highly rarefied and enormously elaborated and well-funded professional world of American academic life, because there were many funding agencies and that helped to flourish cultural studies in the United States. Okay, so cultural studies were allowed to triumph in the universities. as though to trumpet its powerlessness before the world. Yes, it emerged as a dominant discipline in the United States in the latter stages, we can see. In the next part of my discussion, I shall be talking about a brief, means I shall be exploring cultural studies in brief, what it means according to Vinay Lal.